And welcome back, guys, to the channel. If you've been watching me for some time now, you probably know that I make some courses for different websites, and most recently, in last autumn, there was the Modern Chess Challenge, Modern Chess Autumn Challenge. Basically a tournament between course creators, very strong grandmasters. I was, funnily enough, the lowest rated player of all of the participants, and we were kind of fighting it out who makes the best course. And in the end, I was the one who won this tournament. And as a consequence of that, I started working a bit more closely together with Modern Chess, and started creating some more courses for them. Many of them will be released in the months to follow. I'm just about to record a whole course on Rook endgames, kind of a deeper dive into all of the things we've been going through on this channel. And I've also recorded some overview videos for some of the courses, which I did not create my own, but it's something I did for my courses for the Autumn Challenge, which there was quite a positive feedback, I think, from many people, that they really enjoyed the whole idea of presenting the material in one video, just kind of to break it all down. What is the course about? And I recorded 2 overview videos just yet. It's about a whole e4, e5 repertoire from the black side, a course created by one of the owners of Modern Chess, Grandmaster Pier Luigi Basso from Italy. And I was the one who recorded overview videos for this course. And what you're about to see now is kind of an excerpt of the overview video, which I created on Pierre's solution against the Italian. So a repertoire from the black side against the Italian, based on d6 on the 3rd move, which is quite a rare line, but quite interesting, avoiding a lot of mainstream theory. And I created an overview video, which was actually much longer than what you're about to see, but I cut it down a little bit, just that we're not revealing too much. If you guys are looking for a repertoire against the Italian, I can really recommend you to go there. I'm not getting anything from them to record this. I just thought it would be nice content to throw like a small part of the overview video out there. And if you guys are interested in that, you can head on to Modern Chess and buy the course. I will put a link into the description down below. The second course, I'll probably release that tomorrow or some of the other days, where I recorded the overview video for that. That one is against the Spanish, with a repertoire with a6 on the 3rd move, and after bishop a4, then knight g to e7, which is another pretty modern line, which generally gives black pretty nice chances to fight for a win, which is not so easy nowadays in many openings. Quite an interesting line there too. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy this small overview video. I can really recommend you to check out some of Modern Chess's stuff. They really have affordable courses, but at the same time of a very high quality. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and yeah, enjoy the video. Welcome everybody to this small overview video on the Italian with d6 on the 3rd move. My name is Grandmaster Felix Bloberger, and I'm honored to give you a small summary / overview video on this very topical and interesting system against the Italian. So I had a look over the course of Pier Luigi Basso, and I would like to start off by saying that he really did a great job on all of this. I did have a look myself at the line already. I think I started having a look at this back in the day when Duba first played it in 2021, but a lot has happened since then, and there are a lot of new developments in the line. And Pier Luigi Basso really did a great job on that and made a very comprehensive course, which at the same time is works really well, objectively speaking as well. So I always went over the lines also with my own engines, and as with all the other courses from Modern Chess, it's clear that all of the lines have been thoroughly checked. So just wanted to say that from the start. So let's start with the Italian d6 on the 3rd move. So the first thing which I really love about this move order and this specific line in the Italian is that you're not allowing white many of the really annoying gambits. One thing, for example, is in the normal move order with knight f6, this fried liver attack with knight g5, which I even had myself in the World Cup and got a very bad position out of the opening, is basically just a memory contest nowadays. And well, for some people that might be what they're looking for, but for others, it might be pretty annoying to face this line, because you need to really recall a lot of sharp lines. And the same goes for the bishop c5 Italian. There's the evens gambit, there is c3 followed by d4, where there are a lot of sharp and concrete lines where you really need to where you really need to know your way. And I don't think that this is at least not yet. It's definitely not the case with d6, because you're not allowing white this immediate knight g5, you're not allowing any evens gambits and so on. There are, of course, a couple of lines which you should know, but there's a very much decreased chance that your opponent is going to know them, especially in depth after this move. So what exactly is the point of d6? First of all, we're just freeing up our bishop on c8. In some cases, we can even put it to e6, as we will see later, just to immediately offer a trade of bishops. But most importantly, we're still staying flexible. And even not placing the knight from g8 to f6 is going to have a pretty important point, as we will see in just a second. So white here has a couple of different moves, but already at this point, many people do make quite some inaccuracies. For example, if white follows up with a very logical move d3, it's already inaccurate, because now black has the move knight a5, which immediately solves all of black's problems, because we just win the bishop pair, and this could easily also just turn out to be a better position for black after winning the bishop pair. So there are often those ideas, as it is typically in the Ruy Lopez or in the Italian, where we can often just get this bishop on c4, and usually if we have the chance, we should definitely use it. Probably the sharpest, which we're going to see, is the move c3, which immediately also tries to prepare the center strike with d4. And still going for knight f6 here is not a good idea, because now white can again go for knight g5, and c3 is going to be quite useful in all of those fried liver positions. So we definitely should not go for that. But as we've already discovered at the start, black can use the fact that the knight is still on g8, and here there is this one whole point of the line that here f5 actually works pretty well. And this was, I think, one of the games that actually started the variation in the Russian Championship from the year 2020 between Vladimir Fedoseev and Daniel Dubov. So I think the line can actually be named after Dubov, probably not the first one and not the last one that can be named after the Russian theoretician, but he was one of the first ones to definitely come up with that, especially with the f5 push. Of course, it does look a little bit risky, but we do know these ideas from other lines in e4, e5. There is the Yenish gambit, for example. There are quite a few lines with f5 being possible, but this is definitely, objectively speaking, the best one of all of them, in my opinion. Like, black is just equalizing in those lines objectively, which you cannot say in lines like the Yenish gambit, for example. But here, also with the white bishop on c4, there is no pressure on the knight on c6 just yet. Of course, we do also need to be careful on this diagonal, but for the very moment, there is nothing happening there just yet. Here, there is a chance for white to go wrong, which is the very natural move, short castle. And this was in fact played in quite a recent game between Hans Niemann and Fabiano Caruana, where Fabiano managed to win a very nice game. And typically in those positions, it is our time to close up the center with f4. And I'll just continue with a very typical King's Indian plan. So just g5, g4, and basically checkmate our opponent on the king side. Here, even objectively, this is already quite risky for white. So black already even has a tiny advantage here. Now you can already imagine how is the practical aspect of it. So I think this is already very, very difficult for white to play. So after short castle, I found Pierre's solution here incredibly original, which is the move bishop e6. This is a move which, if I would see it being played in a coffee house between two amateurs, I wouldn't be surprised. But he actually made it work really well, and there are so many surprising resources for black in this line. And it's a really nice shortcut with all of the move orders. Like when I was checking the line myself, I often was struggling here. I was checking some lines with bishop e7 now, and if white goes d4 then, or if he doesn't go d4 then, it all became a bit complicated. But with this shortcut bishop e6, it's really easy to learn and to understand the line as well. Of course, we are allowing white to double our pawns here, which he probably should also go for. But already now it's a bit of an unorthodox position, and some white players might not be familiar with this immediate challenging of the bishop on c4. Typically, white plays here with d3 and c3 in the more usual Italian lines, but this should not be the most critical approach now, since white does have the option to immediately challenge the center. Also d3 followed by c3, and this slower approach has been analyzed by Pierre really well. So if you are curious about that, you can and definitely should check out the videos and the PGNs of that. The bishop takes d6, now it's starting to become really dangerous. Like there are so many sacrifices possible already on the queen side, like some bishop takes h2, knight takes h2, or exchange sacrifice on f3. All of that is already in the air. White's best is probably to go for bishop g5 still, but now again queen e8 followed by queen h5, some sacrifices, or another attacker joining in with knight e5. It's, to me, optically it looks incredibly scary for white. Computers still claim zeros here, but wouldn't like to be in white's shoes here. So let's have a look at some of the remaining possibilities. We've already went through almost all of them. The only one missing is the immediate challenging of the center with d4. And here it brings me to my biggest point of making this whole video, is that I really love the whole flexibility that the system brings us. After d4, the main choice analyzed in the course is knight to f6. But if we want to switch things up, we even have the very interesting alternative e takes d4. I know this was only briefly mentioned in the course, but it's another fascinating opportunity for black to go into, especially if you like those type of Philidor positions. I generally feel like black has a pretty good version here, because white does not always want his bishop on c4 here. It can often run into knight to e5 later on in the game, and just hitting the bishop on c4. So this is what I really love about the system with d6. It first of all doesn't give white a lot of those concrete options and early annoying gambits. And secondly, it does give black a lot of flexibility in many of the lines as well. But for the purpose of this video, we're still going to stick to knight f6 for now, which is the main recommendation in the course. Immediately challenging the knight, the pawn on e4. Apart from that, while e4 is hanging, if white immediately wants to protect it with knight c3, it's already a bit uncomfortable after bishop g4, because if white goes for d5, then knight d4 is jumping in, and it all seems like a very successful King's Indian type of structure for black, immediately trying to destroy white's structure on the king side. That brings me to the final line, which is d5, which objectively speaking is probably one of the most critical continuations in this whole complex. And another original suggestion here in the course is the move knight to b8. In my previous experience, I was mostly focusing on the line with knight e7. Again, this is another possible variation you can dive into later on if you've already played knight b8 on numerous occasions and want to explore some other things. Quite typical King's Indian position. Black can follow up with knight g6, bishop e7, short castle, or also with g6, bishop g7, short castle. If you're a King's Indian player, this is going to be exactly what you hope for. But knight b8 has been recommended in the course, which does have also a pretty natural point, which is that we don't want to block the bishop on f8 and just want to finish our development with bishop e7, short castle. And generally in those positions, it's mostly about the central break with c6, just fighting over the d5 square. This is what we're going for in those positions, and generally not so much going for this typical f5 break in the King's Indian. So that was the overview video for the d6 Italian. I will definitely use all of the analysis which I've just seen for myself. Really big shout out to Pierre, and kudos for the great analysis job. I hope you will enjoy the course as much as I did and will have success in your games with it. Thank you for purchasing this course. This was it from me. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.